Wow. This weekend, it's just been, it's been a rough one for Brazil.
Yeah.
I mean, a bridge collapse, a bus crash, and a plane crash, all in just like a couple of days.
Yeah, it's a lot to process.
Yeah. So we're going to do a deep dive into these tragedies and sort of try and understand, what happened, and maybe find some takeaways.
I think that's really important. I mean, it is, obviously a very human cost to these events.
Yeah.
And I think that going beyond just the headlines and really looking at the details of what happened in these events can help us learn from them and perhaps prevent them from happening in the future.
Right. And hopefully prevent them from happening again. So let's start with the bridge collapse. The Juscelino Kubitschek de Oliveira Bridge.
Right.
It's a cantilever design built back in the 60s, I think.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a crucial artery connecting two northern states. And it was, hundreds of miles away from the capital.
Yeah, hundreds of miles away from Brasilia. And I think that adds, another layer of complexity to the rescue efforts. It's just really a reminder of the challenges that are inherent in maintaining infrastructure, especially in more remote areas.
Yeah, and it's not just the distance, right? We're talking about a sulfuric acid spill.
Right.
One of the trucks went down with the bridge. So dealing with a hazmat situation like that on top of everything else.
Absolutely. It's just logistically a nightmare. You have to consider the safety of the divers, the environmental impact. It all adds up. And I think this incident really raises serious questions about the long-term safety and maintenance of aging infrastructure, not just in Brazil, but really around the world.
Yeah, it really makes you think.
Yeah.
And then there's that bus crash in Minas Gerais state.
Right.
41 lives lost. It's heartbreaking.
It really is. And what's particularly troubling, I think, about this incident is that the truck driver involved in the accident actually fled the scene. And so there are suspicions that the truck may have been carrying overweight cargo, which, potentially signals a disregard for safety regulations, and that can have, obviously, fatal consequences.
Right. And this bus was carrying 45 passengers. Imagine that. A full bus departing from, the busy streets of Sao Paulo.
Right.
Probably filled with people going home to their families or visiting loved ones.
Yeah, just going about their daily lives, and then to have it end in such a horrific tragedy, it's devastating. And I think it really underscores the need for stricter enforcement of road safety rules and regulations and, the importance of drivers of heavy vehicles recognizing the responsibility that they have when they're behind the wheel.
Absolutely. And then there's the plane crash.
Yeah.
Happened in Gramado, which is a really popular tourist destination in Brazil.
Right, a small plane. And, tragically, it hit a chimney, then the second floor of a building before ultimately crashing into a cell phone store. 10 lives were lost on board, and over a dozen people on the ground were injured. The pilot, Luiz Claudio Galeazzi, he was a businessman and he was traveling with his family. Just a trip that turned into an unimaginable tragedy.
It's a stark reminder that these kinds of things can happen anywhere, even in seemingly safe environments.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the investigation process for something like this?
Well, I think that a thorough investigation obviously will be needed to uncover the specific cause of this crash. But I think it also raises broader questions about, aviation safety protocols, pilot training. Those kinds of things always come to the forefront when something like this happens.
Yeah. So it's been a pretty heavy deep dive today. 3 totally separate incidents, each with their own, set of circumstances, but all highlighting the fragility of life.
Yeah, that's the thing. Despite the differences in these events, they all raise these really important questions about infrastructure, safety regulations, disaster preparedness, and not just in Brazil, but everywhere.
Yeah, I think what really strikes me is the resilience of the Brazilian people. Their ability to sort of come together and support each other and rebuild. It's truly inspiring. As we move forward, what do you think is the most crucial lesson that we can take away from these events?
That's a good question. Perhaps it's a reminder to be vigilant, to advocate for better safety measures in our own communities, and to really cherish every moment. These events, while they are undeniably tragic, can serve as a catalyst for positive change if we allow them to.
Yeah, I think that's a good note to end on.
Yeah.